Hey everyone, Sean with Families Creating Financial Freedom, and today we're going to talk about recession proofing your life. Okay, so we've talked about various topics that would be part of today's discussion, and I'll link some of those videos that I think are all the more important at the end, but let's bring it all together in one simple video. So you want to stick around all the way through and see what else I think you should be watching. Before we get started though, do me a favor, go down, follow this channel, like this video. It helps me out, only takes you a second. Everyone seems to be talking about the fact that we are going to have a recession. That's experts, economists, and individuals who don't know anything. All are saying we're going to have a recession. Well, I'm here to tell you we are, but we can't necessarily predict when. And right now, it's a particularly difficult time to decide if we're looking on what the true causes of a recession are. A recession is typically defined by an economic downturn of 2 or more quarters. Economic downturn would be slowing of consumer spending and rising unemployment. The reason I tell you nobody can necessarily pick right now when that might happen is, first of all, unemployment is going down and new jobs are being created. So employment numbers are improving and remaining steady or stable. And two, consumer spending is still going very well, despite the fact that the Fed has been slowly trying to slow down inflation by raising interest rates. Now, raising interest rates, the Feds are projected to do it until a couple more times through 2023 until 2024. And if their plan has worked, then they're potentially going to back off of those rate increases and lower rates a little bit. In turn, if that should happen, on the surface, reduced rates should make prices improve, which should increase consumer spending and help, again, with the creation of jobs. Now, that's on a technical standpoint when you look at the surface. Will that be the case? I don't know. That would be the pathway to avoiding a recession. Historically, we have a recession every 3 to 4 years. It may last a couple of months. A lot of economists and investors will say that it is good for the markets to a degree if it's not an extended recession, because it allows some things to reset, which in turn helps. But for the average person out here, the average consumer, investor, whatever, the word recession is very scary. The thought is that you're going to lose something or that you're going to struggle. And losing something might be a downturn in your investments. It might be loss of a job. But let's talk about some things that you can do to recession-proof your life. First up, employment. If you're of the working world, if you haven't become independently wealthy or retired where you have safe, comfortable pensions, you're worried about losing your job. Well, what can you do? First of all, become the ideal employee. Be willing to step up to the plate, take on projects, do things that make you valuable in the sight of your supervisors, your boss, the owners of the company. And at the same time, where you can expand and enrich your job skills, you want to be doing that. So while a company may close or have an issue that causes you to become employed, you may become more employable to somebody else right out of the gate by improving your job skills. It's very easy. We take a new job, we work it, we settle in, and we become comfortable. Well, part of recession-proofing your life means not becoming comfortable, but continuing to grow professionally. So get to work on that one. Number 2, increase your emergency savings or your liquid fund for the what ifs. I'm going to link at the end of this a video on how much emergency savings you should have and how that should maybe be structured. But at the end of the day, many Americans don't have enough to cover 1 month should something happen, to cover a major expense. And so it's critical that you find a way to build that emergency fund. If you are working one job and you are living paycheck to paycheck, you might consider a second job or a side hustle, doing something that creates additional income, and promise yourself you're only going to do it for a short time until you have built up that emergency savings. At the same time, this side hustle or second job may be something that further expands your job skills and ties into number one that I just spoke about. So building that emergency savings, and be willing to take it one step at a time. Identify what you need on a monthly basis to get by, and set a goal right out of the gate that you're going to save to get 1 month of it, and then 2 months, and 3 months, and so forth until you've reached that. But it may require you digging down a little deeper to create the extra money to get there. But it is very important. 3, eliminate unnecessary spending or unnecessary debt. That's easy to say, but identify things that you spend money on that you could, if you had to, do without. And then isolate one of them, do without for a month. At the end of the month, if you still need it or you really value it and you missed it considerably, add it back in. There's a good chance that you won't, or you might find a balance of how you could implement some of what you cut without including all of what you cut. That's one way to eliminate some of your spending, like eat out less or shop more carefully in what you purchase for your groceries, etc. And if it's not necessary spending, like new outfits or vacations or weekend getaways, cut those out and see how your life is without it. Investments. This is all the more important if we're talking about a retirement fund and you are a couple of years out from retirement, versus if you're young and it's a retirement account that can weather the ups and downs. But your investments, one way, or should I say 2 ways, to protect yourself is to follow these 2 simple rules. First of all, no more than 10% of your investments in one stock, one investment. You know, over the years, many people have been big fans of Apple, Tesla, GE. The list will go on over the years as to the popular stock, but they all had their day in the sun, and they all resulted in people getting burnt at some point in time. So don't put more than 10% of your portfolio in one investment. 2, broad diversification of your accounts, meaning not just a number of stocks, but making sure all of them are not in one area, so that you're covering all the different spectrum of investments, from commodities to, the list goes on, energy, healthcare, etc. Just make sure that all your eggs are not in one basket. That helps you mitigate some of the risk. Yes, if we have a recession, just about everything will go down, but by diversification and not having all your eggs in one basket, you will see a reduced decline in your portfolio versus if you just were investing in one fund. And then lastly, don't take on new unnecessary debts unless you absolutely have to. Would your car blows up, is finished, and you need one? Is that unnecessary? No, that's necessary. but be practical about that. But if you have other things that you don't have to spend money on, don't. Save the money instead. That's my last solid tip for how to recession-proof your life. Increase your savings, diversification, protect yourself at work, etc. Now, let me give you this other piece of advice. If you have not already developed a budget that helps guide you and watch your spending, you don't know where to start, I will have a link in the description of this to access my course. It will provide you with a spreadsheet, the tools, give you some tips and tricks on how to eliminate some debts or reduce them, restructure your life so that you are on stronger ground on a pathway to financial freedom. I promised I also am linking a video to how much of an emergency fund, and I'm going to link a popular video that I did several months ago on buying gold and silver and should you include that in your emergency fund. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. Until next time though, take care.